Today, from battlefield command to military academies, Napoleon is everywhere. His strategies, his systems, his philosophy, they are embedded in the DNA of modern warfare. But the story of Napoleon is more than just tactics and maps. It's a story about ambition, genius, and the danger of innovation without restraint. He made war smarter, faster, and deadlier. He turned nations into armies, and generals into politicians. And in doing so, he changed the course of history, not just in his time, but for all time. What do you think? Was Napoleon a revolutionary genius, or a warlord who unleashed the modern age's darkest weapon? Total war? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into the untold stories of history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Segment 1. The rise of a new kind of commander. Born on the island of Corsica in 1769, Napoleon rose from obscurity to command the most powerful army in Europe. But what truly set him apart wasn't just talent, it was his way of thinking. As a product of the Enlightenment and the French Revolution, Napoleon understood that war was changing. Monarchs no longer just fought for land, they fought for ideologies, for the future. And Napoleon realized that to win in this new world, you had to fight in a new way. While others clung to tradition, he embraced reform. His mind was constantly at work, analyzing maps, anticipating enemy moves, crafting devastating strategies in mere hours. He wasn't just a general, he was a force of nature. Segment 2. The core system. Breaking the army into pieces. Before Napoleon, European armies operated as centralized monoliths, slow, cumbersome, and vulnerable. One failed maneuver could doom an entire force. Napoleon revolutionized this by dividing his army into corps, autonomous units, each capable of independent combat. These corps had their own infantry, cavalry, artillery, and logistics. They could march separately and strike collectively. This allowed him to conduct lightning-fast campaigns, drawing the enemy into traps or surrounding them before they could react. In battles like Ulm, 1805, his corps moved across different routes, feigned retreats, and converged with brutal precision, cutting off and capturing entire armies without a single major battle. Today's military divisions, task forces, and rapid deployment strategies owe everything to this breakthrough. It was the death of the old world's rigidity and the birth of strategic flexibility. Segment 3. Movement as a weapon. The art of speed and shock. Napoleon's armies weren't just fast, they were weaponized speed. He drilled his troops to march longer, live off the land, and move without reliance on fixed supply lines. This gave him the upper hand again and again. Enemies often prepared for war months in advance, only to find Napoleon's army at their doorstep weeks early, already striking. In the Austerlitz campaign, Napoleon executed a deliberate feint to lure his enemies in, and then used fast-marching reinforcements to crush them in a devastating pincer movement. He understood the power of momentum. Napoleon didn't fight prolonged wars. He ended them quickly, before the enemy even knew what was happening. This doctrine of speed, deception, and sudden concentration of force would later echo in the blitzkrieg tactics of World War II. But it started here, with the Emperor of Speed. Segment 4. The birth of total war. The nation at arms. Perhaps Napoleon's most world-altering contribution was how he expanded war beyond the battlefield. For him, war wasn't fought by kings, it was fought by nations. With the levée en masse, France became the first modern state to draft entire populations into military service. The army grew not in hundreds, but in hundreds of thousands. It became a national force, and with this scale came logistical innovation, organized supply chains, standardized uniforms, mobile artillery systems, and rapid communication via signal corps and dispatch riders. Napoleon also wielded the weapon of ideology. He told his soldiers they were spreading the revolution, liberty, equality, fraternity. They weren't just fighting, they were liberating. This was the first time war was fought with moral conviction, with propaganda, with the emotional mobilization of a population. That psychological aspect of war, seen in modern propaganda machines, morale campaigns, and state-controlled media, was born in the Napoleonic age. Segment 5. The shadow of his legacy. Napoleon's influence did not end with Waterloo. In fact, his military playbook was copied, studied, and feared for generations. His tactics influenced Clausewitz and Jomini, reshaped Prussian doctrine, and inspired the massive mobilizations of both world wars. His concept of total war would culminate in the 20th century with firebombings, trench warfare, and atomic destruction. And yet, his genius was undeniable. In just 2 decades, he faced coalitions of every major European power and defeated nearly all of them. His ability to combine tactical brilliance with organizational innovation made him unmatched in his time. But with great innovation came great destruction. Cities burned, empires collapsed, millions died. Napoleon Napoleon gave the world the tools of modern war and with them the cost of modern conflict. In the blood-soaked fields of Europe, a new kind of warfare was born. It wasn't just muskets and bayonets. It was strategy, speed, and psychological domination. At the heart of this transformation stood one man, Napoleon Bonaparte. He was more than an emperor. He was a military innovator who didn't just fight wars, he redefined them. Before Napoleon, armies marched in rigid lines and battles were gentlemanly affairs fought by elites. After Napoleon, war became national, strategic, industrial, a terrifying precursor to the modern battlefield. From core structures and mass conscription to shock tactics and ideological warfare, Napoleon gave the world a new blueprint for destruction and victory. This is the story of how Napoleon invented modern war.